Thanks to LL Bean for presenting today's storybook with limited commercial interruption.
How was your morning?
All my life, changing every day, in every possible way. In every possible way.
To put in perspective, we cultivate about a dozen different varieties of mushrooms. There are literally tens of thousands of varieties of mushrooms, most of which have never been scientifically explored for their potential medicinal or food purposes. We're scratching the tip of the iceberg in terms of what could be done in the future.
The idea of starting up a mushroom farm with my brother and my father kind of started as a senior thesis project. Started looking into sustainable products, and mushrooms are an incredibly sustainable product in the sense that they use agricultural byproducts to create a delicious food for us to consume. We pitched this idea to our father on his 50th birthday at the time. We also got him a pair of LL Bean slippers, so it wasn't all work.
Expensive slippers. As we looked at this, we said, hey, this is really an interesting market, potentially. All of us in the family have special food needs, and so one of the things that we all have in common is that we liked mushrooms, and mushrooms fit all of our diets. And so it hit us at a personal level. We looked at it and said, well, let's give this a try.
So we pitched our idea to Hannaford and Whole Foods before we even had our facility. And they said, yes, absolutely, they'd be interested in local organic mushrooms. Then my brother, Robert, found this beautiful dairy barn right here in Springvale, Maine. And we began researching and developing, and
here we are today, with selling mushrooms as far south as Delaware every week. Our farm here is about 12 acres of land and the two big barns that we work inside of. We're really lucky that the Carpenter family, who's been farming this land since about 1700, has worked with us to protect this special place to be forever in agriculture. We're one of a group of farmers here that is working to maintain agriculture in southern Maine, who all collaborate together, helping each other out and making it possible to be easy for consumers to come to the farms and get produce and keep the 300 plus year tradition of agriculture in York County. I spoke with a woman from the Penobscot Nation at an agriculture conference, and she came up to me and she said, do you know what the name of your farm means? And I said, no, I know it's an Indian word. And she said, Mousam, and she pronounced it, it's supposed to be pronounced Mousam. She said it means grandfather. That's very important to me because I'm about to become a grandfather myself. This valley's always been named Mousam.
And the Wabanaki Native Americans used to forage these lands, and they would incorporate mushrooms just like the ones that we grow indoors into their cuisine.
They've been used for food here, for thousands of years. That's why we want to make sure it's going to stay in agriculture forever, to continue this tradition.
So we're trying to mimic nature as much as possible indoors.
The trick is to give it the environment that it wants to fruit, because every plant's got a particular time of year or humidity that they want. Shiitakes commercially originated in Japan. They want us to trick them into thinking that it's either spring or autumn in Japan, when there's lots of rainfall. We also grow a yellow oyster that wants it to be summertime in Florida. 90% humidity, it wants it to rain all during the day, 85, 90 degrees. So we've got both going on the same time in the same building, and we control this via our computer system. My background's in industrial computer systems, and so we've used the technology to really greatly cut down the cost of the computer system. And we've got a much more flexible and accurate system than you can buy off the shelf.
Mushrooms are actually really similar to humans in the sense that they breathe in oxygen and they exhale CO2. So we use our HVAC system. If we were to shut that down, it would only be a matter of hours before the mushrooms would start to suffocate on the CO2 that they were producing. So these are shiitake logs. They come in like this. And then in about a week's time, they look like this. The spawn actually, some of the spawn comes from North Spore. And then it gets inoculated at Maine cap and stem, grows out for 30 days, and then comes here. And in a week's time, they are popping up mushrooms. The grow medium itself, that takes about 30 days to have the mycelium, which is the white mushroom root, colonize the log. But we buy in the grow medium. Once the log is ready to be harvested, the caps themselves will start to unfurl and they'll start to show their gills. And that's actually where the spores are dropped, and that's the reproductive aspect. And it only takes about 3 to 5 days for the mushrooms, which is the mature fruit body, to begin producing and be ready for us to harvest and pick and pack and then deliver. Our turnaround time from the harvest to the packing to the grocery store shelf to the consumer's fridge is approximately 48 to 72 hours. We grow primarily specialty mushrooms, but the majority, I'd say about 90% of our production is shiitake. They've been around for thousands of years, and they have great medicinal properties, nutritional value, but also they're a great hardy mushroom. But the major reason is that they're delicious.
I like to saute them in butter with a few herbs and a little white wine. I like my mushrooms juicy and fresh, so I cook them for a very short period of time. Other people like to cook them longer, like Emily.
I like my mushrooms crispy, so I cook them a little bit longer and a little bit higher of a heat. But again, that butter or oil in the pan, it really adds to the flavor. COVID was a challenge in the beginning. We did see our restaurant sales decrease and our bulk grocery orders decrease. But at the same time, we saw our packaged grocery sales increase as more folks were staying home and focused on cooking family comfort foods.
For me, the thing about this is I love working with Emily. I love working with all the people here in the farm. We've got people who started with us in 2013 who are still here today. They're like family, okay? And so for me, I love mushrooms, but what I love the most is working with the people here and building something that's gonna be here long after I'm gone. That's what I love. And to me, the mushrooms are just a fantastic product that I believe in. And because I care about food, I love cooking, but for me, it's the people.
And not only just our mushroom family and our team, but also our community. Feeding our community, that's really what gives me purpose to keep going and to be just as excited from day one to 10 years into it.